All right, we're going to get started. So for those students who are joining, welcome. This is the Sciences information session, so just want to make sure you know you're in the right place. My name is Pat. I'm one of the advisors in the Department of Biology, which houses the Biological Science, Neuroscience, and Integrated Health Studies majors. It's really nice to meet you, and we're excited for you to join us. Today we have Kathy Nagy from the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences. We have Miguel Gonzalez-Miller from the Department of Biological Sciences, and we have Stephanie Colonna from the Department of Chemistry. So they're going to be here discussing a little bit about their respective departments. We also have Marissa here, who is one of our students in neuroscience, which is housed in the Department of Biology. So she'll also be available for questions. The way that this is going to work is we're going to kind of kick it off with a few presentations from our faculty to kind of introduce you to the majors respectively within the departments. And then after that, we are going to open it up for kind of a Q&A. So while the presentations are going on, please feel free to use the chat to put in questions. And then during the Q&A, I will be working through each one. We'll have the faculty and Marissa answer any of them that are directed toward them specifically. So we're going to start with Miguel. So Miguel, would you like to share, please, your screen and begin the presentation?
Hello, you guys can see the slides? All right. Okay, so thank you for coming and welcome to the science session. We're gonna start talking about the programs that are housed at the Department of Biological Sciences, and those are the major in Biological Sciences, the bachelor's in Neuroscience, and the major in Integrated Health Studies. And I want to start just telling you about who we are. We are all a very active department in the life sciences, and we are led by the department head, who is Eric Stubb, who's a microbiologist that looks at microbes that produce light in the gut of the squid. And then I'm the director of undergrad studies for these programs, and I'm interested in how ecosystems respond to climate change. So we're gonna really quickly get into the programs that we house. So the first one, and the one that has the largest number of majors, is the major in Biological Sciences. This requires 40 credits to be taken within the disciplines of biology. We have three concentrations. One is the ecology, evolution, and environment. Another one is the molecular, cellular, and organismal biology. And another one is the general biology. And they are, the molecular and the ecology are concentrated in those kind of vertical integration. So it's kind of the suborganismal will be the molecular, and the organismal and groups of organisms will be the evolution. And then the general biology, you have all those courses available to you, but you can decide to concentrate. Perhaps you're more interested in physiology, or more interested in genetics, or more interested in some of the more health-oriented courses. And you could then use that general biology degree to kind of make your own concentration of courses in your area. Out of these 40 credits, 17 credits are prescribed. They are what we call the core courses, 2 at the 100 level and 3 at the 200 level. And all the others are electives and selectives. And you have over 60 different courses covering many areas of the life sciences. So we're pretty sure that you will find your course that interests you within that offering, which is very broad and diverse. The program in neuroscience, this is a bachelor's degree, so you don't major in this one. It's a curriculum, so that's why it looks like 78 credits. There are courses required from biology, psychology, philosophy, chemistry, and then you have access to other courses in other areas like in physics and bioengineering. This is that definitely a very interdisciplinary part of neuroscience that goes from the molecular aspects to the behavioral aspects, and that's why we need to span in all these aspects. There are one course that is required at the 200 level before you declare the major, and then once you declare it, you can have access to this other, the rest of the curriculum. And the same advisors that do biology will be doing neuroscience, so they can really help you navigate these differences between these two programs. The last program that is housed in the department is the Integrated Health Studies program. That's also a very cross-disciplinary program. It has two concentrations, the health and science concentration and the behavioral health concentration. The behavioral health concentration, once you declare that concentration, then your advisors will be in the Department of Psychology as opposed to the Department of Biology, which leads navigated into the concentrations and then the health and science concentration. It is coordinated with psychology and the College of Applied Health Sciences, and they offer different courses for this major, and is really designed to provide a broad education into the health science professions, all of them, not just pre-med, but all of them, and is looking at this growing demand of having a more social awareness and individualistic approach to the health professions. It has 5 common courses in biology, psychology, and applied health sciences. And then you will take an additional course in each of these areas: applied health, health economics, natural sciences, and humanities social sciences. And after that, you pick a concentration, and then there are several selectives within those concentrations. So that's with respect to the academic undergraduate programs. And I'm going to show you just briefly that some of our classes are very, very large, particularly the introductory biology courses. So they are given in large rooms like this one. But be aware that all these large classes are broken up into smaller groups for labs and discussion sections that will have about 30 students, and they are very collaborative and active learning type of approaches, as you can see here with the labs or some of the discussion sections. So even though some of the lecture rooms will be large, all the courses in biology will allow you to break down into smaller groups. And then some of the upper level courses, those are, for instance, BIOS 365 for biology and integrated health studies, or BIOS 482 for neuroscience. Those will take place in active learning type of pedagogy, where you are involved with the material and not just listening and memorizing, is working with the material. And it requires kind of these movable rooms and movable furniture in order for you to move around and form group discussions and interact with the material and with each other. We also provide, as part of your education, tons of research opportunities in labs, and that is common for all the science departments. And I think this is also common for all the science departments, that all the faculty involved in research are teaching undergraduate courses. So you will have that access to cutting edge researchers and research ideas. And that allows you to then communicate and contact and participate in research. You can do research not only in the life sciences, or you can do research in chemistry and environmental sciences, or outside in the social sciences or the humanities. There is no restriction to that. It is your opportunity to explore what you're interested in. You can volunteer in a lab, you can do it for credit, you can do it for the capstone project if you are part of the honors college, or you can get paid as a lab assistant by the different lab PIs, principal investigators. And you can also get supported through grants to do research. We have programs like Las Ganas and Sim to Us, which are programs to support undergraduate research in biology and chemistry. But we also have college programs like Lasuri, which is research opportunities at LAS, the Honors College, Cura, which is a program by the Chancellor for doing research, and you can get work study. And there are several travel grants if you want to go all over the world, as we have taken many of our undergraduates to do field research, not just lab research in our settings. The department in terms of research is divided into very interactive groups. The molecular and cell development biology group, the ecology and evolution group, the neurobiology group, and we are now growing into a new computational biology and the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in biology. And we just did some hires recently for that. And all these groups are interactive, and faculty members may belong to more than one group for sure. Just to let you know that we cover all the areas of, most of the areas of biology, from urban aspects to medical or biomedical research. There are many other opportunities for students. We are now in hiatus because of COVID, but we have a study abroad at the Galapagos Islands to study iguanas and the finches in those islands. We have field trips organized every year by the Biology Colloquium. Biology Colloquium is a student-run organization and a student-run class where you get exposure to faculty research, but also career outcomes and internship opportunities. You can interact with UIC alumni and many study-run clubs within the life and health sciences. We just started an internship program with the American Association for Spinal and Neurobiology Research, where we're going to be providing paid internships for that. So it is a lot of opportunities to interact and see and form groups of affinity within the biology and beyond. And something that is very important for us at our core in biology is that we really, our mission is to make science accessible to everyone and to make sure that we respect who you are when you come into the science department and in biology, and that we want to engage you with research and with science in a way that we don't ask you to change who you are, but we want you to be part of the biology family in any way you want to be. And here is just a couple of programs where we are doing this work. We have the Las Ganas program, which is in the last year, but has supported Latinx students in research labs and provided that first research experience to programs. And then we have an inclusive excellence program with the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, in which we are actually reteaching the teachers, the instructors, the professors that are teaching your classes with ideas of diversity, equity, and inclusion in mind, and evidence-based pedagogy, active learning, problem-based learning, and so forth. So that, I think, finished my presentation, and we'll have time to take questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Miguel. We're going to now move to Kathy to discuss the Earth and Environmental Sciences program.
Okay, welcome. I'm going to give you a short overview of Earth and Environmental Sciences. So what do? We apply basics of chemistry, biology, physics, math, and statistics to understand the Earth and our environment. And below that on this slide, I'm showing you some of the research areas that we focus on. We work in climate and water science, earth and planetary geophysics, geobiology and astrobiology, geochemistry and human health, and urban environments. We are a small department, but we feel like we offer big benefits to our students. We have about 100 majors currently and about 10 minors. So we have both a major and a minor option. We do offer many research experiences like Professor Gonzalez-Miller suggested for biological sciences. Because we're small, we are able to give our students a lot of individual attention. Normally, we take a lot of field trips in our classes and in our research. We hope to get back to that soon once the pandemic has ended. And our discipline actually gives students a good foundation to enter a variety of careers. So our introductory courses are large, not as big as biological sciences, but approaching 200 students. And we do have individual lab sections in these courses, so students work together in smaller groups. We have EAES 101, Global Environmental Change, and EAES 111, Earth, Energy, and the Environment. And these two courses provide students with all of the foundational knowledge they need to explore the various sub-areas of our discipline. At the 200 level, we have EAES 200, which is called Fieldwork in Missouri, but what it is, it's a week-long trip over spring break where the students work together. They go to Southeast Missouri, work together, and learn how to make observations of geological and environmental situations in the field. And it's a good experience for our students because they develop a camaraderie with their current cohort. Other 200 level courses are Earth Materials, EAS 230, where we study rocks, minerals, water, and gases in the earth and how we use those materials. And then 285 called Earth Systems, which is where we investigate we learn about how all of the different parts of the earth work together. Upper level courses, these are just some examples. Sedimentary environments, soils in the environment, hydrology, hydrogeology, and planetary science. And like in biological sciences, we offer a lot of research experience with our faculty and graduate students. So we have faculty who work in climate science, and some of the questions they ask are how are carbon and water exchanged between land, vegetation, and the atmosphere. And this is a photo of students working in the field at Fermilab. We have geochemists who look at contaminants in soils, water, and the air, and try and understand what are their sources and how they could be related to human health and environmental justice. Geomicrobiology. Some of the questions we're currently asking in that area are how do microbes help break down local landfill waste, and can microbes actually live on other planets? We have a subdiscipline called Ecohydrology, and in this area, we ask how are water bodies such as wetlands, rivers, lakes, and oceans affected by human activities? And here we're studying very large global scale problems with computer models and then also working in the field. Planetary science, we investigate how do surfaces and atmospheres of planets form and change over time, and are other planets and planetary bodies like Earth, or are they different, and how? So we also assist our students in finding internships and summer research experiences in other organizations. So these are just some examples of where some of our students have participated in those kinds of programs. So our RES is a program run out of Boulder, Colorado for students interested in what we call the solid earth. There are many National Science Foundation research experiences for undergraduate programs. So this is one this summer at Georgia Tech where we have a student going. We've had students go to the NASA Student Airborne Research Program where in California, where they go up in an airplane and take measurements of atmosphere and also land surface properties. And then we've also placed students in Department of Energy internships. And we have many others. Because we're small, our students are close and get to know each other pretty well. So we have a good, healthy student life. We do give department awards. We have a room set aside for student lounge. We also have an online Slack community that's been very beneficial, especially this past year during the pandemic. And this is just an example of some of the channels we have in our online Slack community. So it includes things like Life After EAS, where former students post what it's like once they've gotten their degree and moved on. We post job opportunities and internship opportunities. People share photos of their pets, so it's a friendly environment online. We also run a UIC student organization called Terra Society, which participates in department activities, university activities, and also activities in the broader community. We take an annual field trip, which is not class related, but it's something for fun once you've graduated. And here's some examples of places we've gone in past years: Arizona, the Cascades, Washington State, and South Dakota. And I want to share some places where students have gotten jobs with our degree. And students can get jobs with a bachelor's degree in our discipline, and also sometimes they work for a while and then go on and get a master's degree, and that helps them advance in their careers. But you don't need the master's to get jobs. So this is a group of students who have all found jobs in environmental consulting in the Chicago area. And except for Lionel over here in the right corner, he's actually been working in a series of analytical chemistry companies and now works for a chemical specialties company. There's another group of students who have found other types of jobs that you wouldn't think would necessarily follow after an Earth and Environmental Sciences bachelor's degree. Mandy works at UI Health. Scott works at Argonne National Laboratory as a technician, and Dan works in the Chicago Park District. Here's a group of students who have gone on to various governmental jobs. So the Environmental Protection Agency in Chicago, there's Region 5 main office in downtown, the United States Geological Survey, Indiana Department of Health, and FEMA. And then we have students that want to leave Chicago and go to other states, and a lot go out west. So here's just some examples where students have gone and where they work in Nevada, Colorado, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. What about a minor in our discipline? What can you do with that? Well, here's an example. Here are some examples of students who have minored in Earth and Environmental Sciences, but majored in other disciplines such as public policy, English, urban planning, or biological sciences, and the places that they have gotten positions. And you can see that in many cases, their minor has helped them get jobs in the broader discipline of environmental sciences. And we also have students who go on to graduate school, and these are just some examples of students who are currently in graduate programs today and where they are and what they're studying. So just to conclude, here's our website, and we have a Twitter account, and you can email us for more information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. All right, so we're now going to send it to Stephanie to talk a little bit about the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry.
All right, thank you, Pat, and welcome to everyone. It's my honor to be able to share with you some of the details about the programs that we offer within the Department of Chemistry here at UIC. So the Department of Chemistry houses the bachelor's degrees in both chemistry and in biochemistry. Biochemistry is in collaboration with the Department of Biological Sciences, and we also have a minor in chemistry. And so many of the opportunities and the aspects that you've heard about in both the Department of Biological Sciences and in Earth and Environmental Sciences also apply to our chemistry majors. Some that are interested in fundamental chemistry go on to do research in laboratories housed within our department as well as abroad. And our faculty also participate in research that spans fundamental chemistry investigations like the development of new bonds and molecules, as well as batteries and applications to material science, as well as in human health. Our majors have gone on to be extremely successful upon completion of their bachelor's degree, both within industry and in government, as well as extending their education to do master's and PhD programs, and some even go on to do professional degrees in the health sciences, such as pharmacy or medicine. So our curriculum is quite straightforward in terms of our courses that are offered. I will put a link of all of that into the chat, given my technical limitation. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have about becoming a chemistry major or chemistry minor, and how that might fit your personal and professional goals.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Now, I want to also introduce our student who is here, Marissa. She is a neuroscience major. So Marissa, I would love for you if you could share just a little bit about your experience as a student in the sciences here at UIC.
Yeah, hi everybody, I'm Marissa. As Patrick mentioned, I am a neuroscience major. I also currently do research in the Department of Human Development Nursing Science at the UIC College of Nursing in women's health. I had a great experience at UIC. I absolutely love neuroscience. I think one thing that's really amazing about the biological sciences and other science programs at UIC is the interdisciplinary aspect of them, and just being able to take courses in so many different fields. And it's kind of amazing how some things that don't appear to be similar to science can relate a lot to your science degree and actually help you a lot in development as a science student. So overall, it's been an incredible experience. I love how specifically neuroscience incorporates psychology, philosophy, chemistry, as well as, of course, the biological sciences in the degree.
Thank you so much. Now, before we continue, I just want all the students here to know that right now for the next 25 minutes or so, it's going to be just a Q&A. So we would love for you to put questions in the chat for any of our faculty, for Marissa, for them to answer. So at this time, if you have any of those questions, please put them in and we'll begin to answer them. Now, while we wait for the questions, I would love to start by asking all of you, Kathy, Miguel, Stephanie, and Marissa, mostly the faculty now, what do you think would be your top suggestions for students in terms of how to get academic support in the sciences? So as they go through their time at USC, what are the ways that they can receive support in the sciences academically?
I guess I can start. Oh, sure.
No, go for it, Stephanie.
Okay, so I think that one of the great things about embracing your undergraduate education is to be able to develop new relationships, and that's with your peers. That's also with the faculty and the staff across campus. So I would really encourage you to think about getting to know the faculty that are teaching your courses, getting to know the teaching assistants that you meet, as well as your peers within your class, and those that may not be in the same classes, but might be your neighbor at the dorm, for example. I think that as you develop these relationships, you're going to be able to obtain mentoring in multiple different aspects as you progress through your education and your career goals. So I think that there are formal programs, of course, certainly things like tutoring and the Math and Science Learning Center that you'll have access to, your academic advisors and so forth. But I also think that developing relationships with the other folks on campus can really help you mold who you want to become and be successful in your career path.
Miguel or Kathy, do you have anything to add to that or no?
Yeah, I can add some more things. So very important is to have an open and ask many of your questions initially to your advisor, your college advisor. They know all the programs, your general advisor, and they can really guide you through the first year or so until you declare what are the best courses that you need to take in order to meet the college requirements, but also the field requirements for your major. It also, they will help you if you're thinking about this major or this other major and you're unsure on how you best explore those before you make a decision. You have 2 years to make that decision before you declare. In terms of academic support, we have a lot of student organizations that help. We have the Math Science Learning Center. We have peer leaders. We have, so that peer leaders are students that have taken your course and that are supporting you as you take it for the first time, and going through the material and form study groups, and creating that community of learners with your peers. We have the Writing Center, and then we have wonderful teaching assistants in those labs and in those rooms that we break into small groups for discussions that will be helping you along the way. And then we have within the departments, we have the directors of undergraduate studies. We have the dean of students, which can help you with the dean of students in particular, help you with anything related to non-academic aspects as well as academic aspects of the student life here at UIC. So it's a lot of support, more than sometimes meets the eye.
I'll just add one more thing. In addition to your professors and any teaching assistants that you have in your laboratory sections of your classes, many of the introductory classes also have what are called peer leaders. So they will be other undergraduates who will be there to assist and help you learn. And they'll do that either through the Math and Science Learning Center that Mikhail mentioned, or you can contact those people through the professors for those classes.
Thank you so much. Now, Stephanie, we had a student who, oh, perfect. Looks like you are answering the question. Perfect. Never mind.
I'll just add that as a biochemistry major, I just sent a link about the biochemistry or the entire bachelor's degree programs that are housed in chemistry. And I would encourage you to look at that. The biochemistry program requires 120 credits. In fact, if you click on the link there, you'll be able to see a proposed program outline on what courses you would take. With regard to research, you are not required to do the research within the Department of Chemistry. So you can perform research anywhere across campus that's of interest to you. That includes our faculty within chemistry, in biological sciences, in the College of Pharmacy, or in the College of Medicine also have a lot of relevant research groups. So you have the freedom to choose what works out for you the best.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, we just got a question about the Honors College in regards to how that adds to these majors, specifically neuroscience. So Miguel or Marissa, are you either of you aware of any specific connections that your departments have toward the Honors College, so to speak?
Yes, if Marissa doesn't mind, I will start. Yeah, so specifically to your question, the Honors College has its own curriculum, particularly for the general education courses. They are taught by faculty from all the departments, including the departments represented here. So the general education courses are from there. And then you have to do a capstone project to graduate with honors. And that capstone involves research. It doesn't have to be in your major. It could be in any field of study. It doesn't have to be in UIC. It could be outside UIC, like at Rush. A lot of people do that at Rush Hospital or some other places. And you have about the last year to really plan on the capstone. And I think Marissa has completed that, so or is about to complete that capstone project, so she can maybe elaborate on that.
I am actually not in the Honors College, but I know a lot of people that I'm friends with that are also biological science majors have. And I think a lot of the honors college courses that, as Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, are kind of more liberal arts based in the beginning. Like they're just kind of all across different departments, which I think can add to really any major, similar to the way that any, LAS course or, can increase your knowledge of liberal arts. But I do, like, as Dr. Gonzalez also mentioned, there is a capstone project. I know that that does require you to do research, and I believe you have to present it at the the Impact and Research Day. So it allows you to put your research together, make a presentation, and present it. So I think that really is important for any major that you're in. I don't think there's necessarily any specific benefit to the Honors College in neuroscience, but I think it's really a benefit for any major that you do, just because it does offer you a lot of opportunities to not only do research, but also get some experience in some more liberal arts-based courses.
Thank you. I actually have a question for Marissa that I'd like to answer for the students. So Marissa actually is going to be graduating this year. So she's finishing up her time here. And certainly, Marissa, I'm sure you've had time to reflect on what's truly been a whirlwind of 4 years for you, especially, being a college student pre and during the pandemic. So I have a two-part question. How has your time at UIC prepared you for what's to come upon graduation? And then secondly, what advice do you have for these students in terms of how to really, seize the opportunities as a student in the sciences?
Yeah, so that's like a loaded question, because I feel like so much has prepared me that it's like a lot of things that happened to me have all prepared me in some way. But I think I got kind of a late start. And I think my freshman year, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to take some classes and see what's going on. I don't really know anything about research or anything. So actually, I'm going to answer the second part of your question first. And I'm going to say that my piece of advice is to always take advantage of the opportunities that UIC offers. They have so many different programs, and just taking a step out and going to, even sending an email or going to an event is going to change your life. Like seriously, one step could potentially change your entire life at UIC. So always take those steps, always put yourself out there and try new things. And that's really how I established my my career goals and also just my experience in general at UIC. So my experience specifically, I did research. Okay, so obviously I'm a neuroscience major, but I liked a lot more than just neuroscience. Of course, I love neuro. I love the psych and bio aspect. I love how there's a bit of philosophy in my neuroscience curriculum. But I also really liked women's health, and I also really liked nutrition. So I was able to kind of take a bunch of different courses and also do research in a field that was different than neuroscience, which I really, really liked about UIC, just because although I love neuroscience, I also, like I said, like women's health. And I think research in women's health fits me a little bit better. And I would say that specifically my research experience has really established my communication skills and ability to talk to strangers and to also have a little bit more confidence in myself. I would say my neuroscience courses specifically have really just, of course, naturally to my knowledge. And I feel like I can fit into the neuroscience discipline so much more now. And even just being able to read research articles and understand them is just that's how I knew that I was getting smarter through time, is just, going through list of research articles and being like, oh, I actually know what this is actually, saying to me. I know freshman year, I was like, I will never understand this stuff. I'll never be able to comprehend this scientific terminology, anything like that. I would never know. But now I am here and I'm significantly more confident in my ability to understand things. And that's just, simply just knowledge, just learning more in all the courses that I've taken. But it's been a challenge for sure. And I think I've really established a work ethic and a lot more confidence in myself and in my abilities to not only comprehend science, but also just be a better communicator and overall a more balanced person who understands a lot of different things and has a little bit of a mosaic of different fields under my belt.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, students, please continue to post any questions that you have in the chat. We still have up to 15 more minutes if you feel the need to do so.
Can I add one thing, Pat?
Sure, go for it.
So I also, even though I'm in the Department of Chemistry, I also have an affiliation with the Laboratory for Integrative Neuroscience. And I also mentor through the Honors College. So just going back 2 questions ago, I would just say that, you know, I agree that it's not that the Honors College itself has specific, you know, it's not guided towards one major necessarily, but there are a lot of added benefits for participating in the Honors College, and, you know, having extra mentors and advisors and that sort of thing. And then also with regard to the capstone is a really broadly kind of accepted project. So it can be in research broadly defined across many, many disciplines. So if you are a neuroscience major and you do your research as Marissa did outside of neuroscience, that's okay. Your capstone could be that way as well. And the last thing I just want to add is if you're interested in research, don't shy away and think that you have to be a senior to do that. You know, after you kind of get your feet wet when you get on campus, start to think about what would be interesting to you. And in cases, for many faculty, they really appreciate being able to work with undergraduate researchers for multiple semesters. And in fact, you can make a lot more progress when you do that. And so I would just encourage you not to shy away if you are interested in research.
And then I'm going to actually add on to something that Stephanie said with research. I've had a lot of experience as an advisor for the past 5 years working with students who have really gone through various journeys in terms of how they were able to secure research. It is something that sometimes can be challenging, and I think a lot of students can get overwhelmed with that process. But as Stephanie mentioned, really the idea behind research is it's available, but a lot of times you have to be persistent, because sometimes with timing or other events, you may not experience success in a certain area that you wanted to right away. But if you continue to be persistent with, you know, being resourceful and reaching out and finding ways to connect, you're going to exponentially increase your opportunities to potentially secure research. And undoubtedly, from the students that I've met with as an advisor, they have told me that that's truly been the name of the game for them, is continuing to be persistent, because sometimes on the first go around, if it doesn't lead to what you would expect right away, you know, it's not something to be discouraged by. It means that you should continue to think about other ways that you could be resourceful with finding opportunities, whether it's connecting through your faculty that you're with, in terms of your teachers, attending events, connecting with other students that you know who are involved with. There's so many different ways that you can extend your network and increase those opportunities.
You're muted, Pat.
Pat, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So yeah, essentially, I just lost my train of what was I actually signed? Shoot. I had a comment about, oh, sorry. Okay, so basically at this point, it doesn't look like there's any more questions from our students. However, faculty, do you have anything additional that you want to add at this time while we wait for any additional students to field questions?
Yeah, so Morgan and Rebecca asked us something about enrolling in classes in the first year. I want to direct them to the recommended plan of study in our programs. They're on the undergraduate catalog. I can post one for general biology here, so you will look at how this looks like. It is very important you familiarize yourself with this, because some of those courses are large but some of them may fill up. But as Pat said, LAS advisors and orientation will let you know how that goes. And usually the ones that get filled up the soonest are the general education courses, because they're small classes, and those are the ones that maybe you will have to take one that is not your first or second choice if you go to orientation later in the summer. So anything to add on that, Pat?
No, that's great.
I'll add
Actually,
one thing.
oh, go
Sorry.
for it, Kathy.
I'll
Yeah.
add one thing. Yeah, so if you can't get into one of the general education courses that you want to take or need to take, one way to maybe get in is to try and attend the first couple of weeks of the semester, or pay attention to what's going on in the class, because sometimes people drop. And then if you're watching, you can quickly add. And if you've been attending, at least listening to the lectures, you can, you won't have too much to catch up on.
Thank you. Now, Morgan has also asked specifically about you faculty sharing your research that you've conducted. So would Miguel, Kathy, and Stephanie, would you mind sharing if there's any research projects that you have been working with undergraduates on? Can you talk a little bit about an example of something that you've been working with undergraduates in terms of research?
Oh, for sure. Maybe I can put an example with one student who is graduating in the spring, who is actually a major in earth and environmental science, is a minor in chemistry, and is doing research in biology. And her name is Samira Umar, and she is a well-known student, got one of those awards from Earth Science that Dr. Nagy mentioned before. And she is a participant of an expedition that we took students from biology, earth science, chemistry, and other programs to the Arctic. And actually they went into the Arctic for 18 days in the middle of nowhere on a boat, going through icebergs and talking to Inuit people and collecting water samples, ice samples, soil samples, and doing all sorts of cool research. And they were tagged along by a documentary crew that film a documentary. And and this documentary is actually going to be shown on PBS on April 18th at 1 p.m. So if you want to see the UIC students in action in research, just tune in to PBS Chicago, channel 11 at 1 p.m. on April 18th to see their 58-minute documentary on that expedition. I think that shows the collegiality of the departments, how students are welcome from across the disciplines, that and how this student was supported by Lasuri, was supported by an NSF grant. She was supported by Las Ganas, so it's a program that I mentioned before. So I think that's an example of someone who has multiple interests and has done some research and is about to graduate.
I would say that there are a lot of synergies between our department and biological sciences. And I had shown in one of my slides a student who was a major in biological sciences, but in contrast, didn't work with me, but worked with another faculty member in our department on the landfill project. And she's now entered our graduate program to look at microplastics in landfills and how they degrade. We also had another student who was a double major in earth and environmental sciences and biological sciences. And she worked with me in my lab and also with a faculty member in the College of Education, where we had a project, we still have it, a project to teach chemistry teachers from Chicago public schools how to teach chemistry in high school using the topic of toxic metals in the environment. So she worked in my lab analyzing soils that high school students had collected as part of this project.
So in my laboratory, I've actually had the absolute honor of working with over 10 different undergraduate researchers over the past few years. And they've all had their own unique paths and interests. And so they've been supported again by Lasuri, by the Honors College, by other foundations and scholarships. Some have gone on to do graduate studies in chemistry and in biochemistry. Some have gone on to do health sciences. Others have gone into to the workforce. And so, you know, I think one of the things that's great as an undergraduate is you get to learn a new area of science. And And so just as an example, I had one undergraduate who came into my lab and was paired with a graduate student, and the two of them really, hit it off like gangbusters and were able to publish a paper in the first, year that they worked together. And so that was really an exciting time for one of our students. And I had another one who actually was very much interested in chemistry education, much like Dr. Nagy was telling us about. And so this student did a year of undergraduate research in chemical education, and then came into my laboratory because he was interested more in learning about analytical instrumentation to take measurements. And so you're really able to do research in new areas that you may have never thought about before, that build all off of the fundamental knowledge that we're providing in the classroom.
Thank you all so much for sharing. We have about a little less than 5 minutes. So are there any last questions from any of our students? Feel free to put it in the chat right now. All right, so we have a question coming in. How would you describe the support given to students who want to pursue further education in medical school, pharmacy, dentistry, etc., but they don't know what field exactly? Great question. I can actually start. So one of the things that we have in LES is we actually have a separate advising team that specifically works with students who are focused on a pre-health goal, such as medicine or pharmacy or dentistry. So students who are majoring in a particular science major, or not even science, a lot of times it can be a non-science major as well, they have a separate office they can use specifically to focus on that particular area. So for example, if you want to pursue neuroscience, but you also are interested in pursuing dentistry, that's totally fine. Dentistry is more of an educational goal. It's not a major. So that would be something that you'd be working specifically with one of our advisors who focuses on that area. And so there is a lot of collaboration between the departments. So specifically focusing on how can we take courses that are not only going to be fulfilling your major requirements, but also helping you toward those requirements for that specific educational goal. So there is a lot of overlap, but they are separate teams, and you are able to utilize them as a specific resource for anything related to a pre-health goal that you have for further education.
I will also mention on campus, there are a lot of clubs and organizations that are for students interested in further education like medicine, dentistry, physical therapy. I personally was in Association of Pre-Medical Students, and it was really helpful. And all the people, it was nice not only to have students around me who also had the same interests and same goals, but also the program itself brought doctors in, they brought admission counselors from medical schools in, and they were able to do presentations for us. So it was kind of a way, it honestly helped me kind of like tailor my goals as well. So that was definitely a way to get some, like a step in the door to kind of understand more about what medicine would actually entail, or what dentistry would actually entail, or pharmacy, or any program that you were interested in. They have so many different organizations and clubs on campus that are tailored for students that have an interest in these things. And once again, it's not like you have to pursue them. It's just, if you have a little bit of an interest, go to the meetings and be an active member, and just, they offer so many different opportunities for you to learn more about the field itself.
Yeah, well, I will add that is very common, the situation that you explained, really, and where students coming with a clear path to, say, dental school, and then as they go through this, they are exposed to other health professions, or they begin to like something else more than the dentistry, and they are successfully maneuvering into these other programs. It's just slight differences in the boxes you need to click for the requirements for the different professional schools that you need. One of the programs, the pre-pharmacy, for instance, and that's something new, the pre-pharmacy program doesn't require a bachelor's to get into pharmacy school. So a lot of students that were doing the pre-pharm track and then had an idea that they didn't want to do that they wanted to do something else, then they had to backtrack and start and figure out how to get a degree, a bachelor's degree. So we fixed that with pharmacy and the Department of Biological Sciences to have a bachelor's in pharmacy for the pre-pharm school, and that's just out of the oven, so it's very hot. I think the College of LAS is very sensitive to those explorations that you're talking about, and I think they have a lot of good guidance, and not only how to maneuver those decisions for post-bachelor's, for graduate programs, but also how to navigate your program as you are thinking about more dentistry than medical school or something rather.
All right, thank you so much. That's going to do it today. So students, thank you so much for attending. I'd like to thank Kathy, Miguel, Stephanie, and Marissa for joining us today. We hope all of you had a great time and enjoy the rest of your weekends as well.